I'm Dr. Matt B, and these are your emotional minutes, and welcome back. And I actually talked in the last episode about positive emotions and how doing sort of intentional things to boost your positive emotions, as opposed to just thinking about feeling more positive, really has been shown to actually boost positive emotions and have a number of effects, like undoing negative emotions, focusing our attention away from negative things and onto more positive things, and also enhancing things like creativity and giving us sort of what they call more sort of open-mindedness. So the first strategy I want to talk about is what we call positive event tracking. When we're in that sort of mode of negative thinking, it's real easy for those negative events or negative thoughts to kind of build up in our brains and sort of capture all of our attention, where what tracking your positive events does is it really sort of brings back that balance more to the positive, to be able to sort of recognize, hey, there were cool things that happened today, or good things that happened, or these are the things that were actually enjoyable for me today. And it helps you remember those better. And we as humans are sort of built for survival reasons to think more about negative stimuli or negative events. But this helps kind of even the playing field in that we're actually bringing in more positive events. And so how do I track my positive events? So really there's a couple different ways you can do this, but one of the main ways that people rely on is actually just write down your positive events. And I usually do it on a computer, where I just have like an Excel spreadsheet, but you can also do it via journal, something like that. But a really effective way to actually go about doing this is to actually try to get about 4 or 5 events in a day, and maybe do this at the end of the day, say after dinner or maybe before you go to bed. And just kind of look back on the day and write down 4 or 5 positive things that happened during that day. And it's good to do this daily or at least multiple days a week and track these things actually when they happen. And these can be really small scale things, somebody smiled at me walking down the street, or the weather was nice today. But really writing down 4 or 5 of those things that occurred throughout the day can really be a helpful way to actually, again, focus that attention away from kind of the more negative content and onto the more positive things that occurred, which again can help boost your mood and enhance your creativity and things like that. And now one of the things that can also be helpful, and I mentioned this before, is to really try to add some variety to this, because they found that actually if you can mix things up, so maybe you write a positive event about the weather that day, but then also about a social interaction you had, or maybe somebody said thank you to you, right? Again, these can be pretty small things, but sort of mixing it up has also been found to be a powerful thing in the types of things you're tracking. It can actually be really effective to write down just a brief sort of little line or sentence about what happened, what the positive event was, and then also how it affected your emotions. What were you feeling before the event and what you were feeling after? And again, these can be written pretty briefly. You can even put a rating on your emotions from like 0 to 100, 100 potentially being the most positive. And then also it can be good to write down what are some things you did to actually respond in that event. Some of the things that can be helpful in terms of your own responding to the event are ways that you can actually capitalize on the positivity of that event. So you might take a moment to really sort of pay attention to what happened in the event and really sort of savor the feeling that you have about it. Really sort of describe to yourself what you're feeling and kind of sit there and sort of enjoy that feeling. If you want, you can also journal about the event later, and that could just be like a brief paragraph. Hey, here's what happened. Here's how it made me feel. Here's why it was good. Again, these are all things that can sort of increase and enhance that amount of positive emotion and that amount of focus on the positive. You can also reminisce about them. You can tell someone else, hey, this really cool thing happened today. That was a really enjoyable thing and it made me feel good. And just sort of allow yourself to really fully experience those emotions without trying to suppress them. So give yourself a minute to sit and think, hey, that was really cool today when that happened, or that event that just occurred, I just noticed it, was really good. And again, all of those things really help yourself sort of be in that moment and really increase that focus on the positive event and help sort of move toward that upward spiral or help that positivity snowball for you. Again, writing down all of those elements, how did it feel? How did you respond to it? The level of emotional intensity and the positive emotion that you felt. And then also reviewing when it's done, when you've sort of tracked and written all these things down. As you do this more and more, it can also be really helpful to really sort of notice patterns. What are the things that really did boost my mood the most? And again, you want to get more than one of these so that you can sort of create a variety going forward. But what are the sort of events that happened, or the places I was, or the things that occurred, or maybe activities I was doing that brought about positive emotions? Because it just helps make you sort of smarter about what fits well for you, because everybody's a little bit different. So what's going to bring about positive emotions could be different for different people. And that's actually a good segue into our next videos, because we're going to talk about some of those things that are strategies everybody can use overall, but a lot of times they're tailored to your own individual interests. So again, I'm Dr. Matt B, and hopefully that was helpful today in talking about positive event tracking and how it can really help those positive emotion effects and focusing more on the positive and opening your thoughts and your creativity. This was your Emotional Minutes, and we will see you next time.